Hello, silver tubers, and happy Saturday afternoon. I got a special request from Silver Vessel. He got this Republic of Somalia 100 shilling in one of his purchases, and he was very unhappy with the quality of the round. And while I would normally repurpose this into my stack, he was very specific in his request. You can see the scratches on it. He was none too thrilled with the quality of the condition of this coin. And so he had sent this to me along with an order for that big 10-ounce bar and the dragon round that you saw last night. And he had asked me if I would place this in a crucible. The note said, "Hello, Mr. Zeke. I hope you have fun and go nuts with this ugly ducking. Looking forward to seeing you come up with. Enjoy the airtight tube silver vessel." So, I've had it for a while now, waiting to pour the other pours that I had. And I was at a bit of a loss as to what to do with it. But I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to attempt to pour a very shallow Z round with this. It won't be the typical thickness. You can see that's a pretty thick little round. I'm going to try to pour 1 ounce. There's a little bit of silver left over from the last pour in this crucible, so we might actually end up multiplying the silver a little bit. And I've got this little speck here that came out of the crucible last night after I got all done. And so I'm going to throw that in there too. Heat this up and see if we can't pour a shallow Z round for silver vessel. So hang tight. I'm going to go ahead and cut that round up so it melts a little faster, and then we'll all watch this together. And then we're going to do some stamping. So hang tight. We'll see how this pours. I don't know if it'll completely cover it. Alright, we'll see how that came out. I know it didn't completely fill the rim. Let's see if we got the whole Z. So, it's a Z cookie that somebody, the Cookie Monster, took a bite out of. Get that to focus. So that is a repurposed Somali elephant. But what's really neat is on the back, got some pretty radical pour lines. So I hope he likes it. We'll wait and see. Maybe it'll actually... I was thinking it might stand up on its own. There you go. All right, we'll be back over at the bench. So now I just wanted to talk a little bit about the unsexy part of pouring. And that is going from something clean to something that is stamped. How we go about stamping, and what you need, or what works best, or what I have found works best to get a good clean stamp when I stamp on an item. Alright, the Tree of Life. And so I'll kind of show you what I've got. And what I did is I went down to the local hobby store. We have what's called Tandy Leather here in Oklahoma City, and bought a 1-inch thick slab of granite. It's very heavy. I don't know if that helped any, but it's very heavy. And then on top of that is glued a layer of very dense rubber. And I've tried a lot of different things, and I apologize. This is kind of difficult to do. I don't like videoing while I hold the phone in my hand. But if you see anything you're not supposed to. Don't worry about it. It wasn't really there. It was all a dream. Okay, so stamping, for the new folks who are just getting into this, when I started out, I thought I had to stamp very hard. And I learned, okay, there, now we're in focus. I learned very quickly that the harder I stamped, the worse the results were. And so what I use to stamp with is I use a simple set of stamps. I've got the Privy stamps and then the Tree of Life and the 999. And a tiny little hammer. Rubber grip Pittsburgh. This was cheap. I think it was $2.99 at Harbor Freight. And stamping is a function of just hitting the stamp just right. Holding the stamp so it's flush with the surface. And then not hitting too hard. That's it. So you can see on that one I didn't have the stamp perfectly level, so I only got half the tree. But that's easily corrected because I can go back, feel around till I feel it drop back in the same notch. And now I have a full tree. The same goes with the 999 stamp. I take the stamp, make sure I've got it aligned correctly. With these Impress Art stamps, you know to put the thumb on the Impress Art, line it up, make sure it's level, and just one good, nice, gentle blow. That's it. And I end up with a nice 999 fine silver stamp. The same thing goes with the numbers. It's all about not hitting them as hard as I would normally think to hit them. So let's weigh this. But that rubber really keeps, because it's so thin, so this particular piece I'm going to stamp 2.2 ounces Troy. So the rubber surface keeps from scratching up the silver. As long as you keep the rubber clean, it keeps the face from scratching up. But this one I'm going to stamp on the side. So I'm going to stamp 2.2. So I'm going to get my 2. See, isn't this so much fun? I've got my 2. Make sure I've got it aligned right. I'm going to just set it so that I feel the surface of the stamp clean and just barely tap it. That's it. That's all the more pressure I need to get a 2. I don't really have to. I can let the weight of the hammer do the stamping. So my period, which is a modified punch, and there's my dot, and another 2. And 2.2. And the signature OZT, we're going to go, that would be an X. I turned my stamps around so I don't see them in the right order. So I've got my O, put it right next to the O, and then a Z. That's an 8. I gotta turn my stamps back around. I'm grabbing the one above it instead of the one below it. O, Z. Get a little, that one. I didn't have the stamp level. And when the stamp isn't level, it's just a matter of lining it back up by feel into the groove of the original stamp. That one slid off the edge, but even though it slid off the edge, I still got my OZT. So learning to stamp, and stamping, you can stamp, put these back real quick. I don't want to make this too long, but that rubber with a solid backing, I didn't want to buy the steel plate. I know some folks stamp on steel, but you can actually even stamp on a round surface we're going to stamp around the edge of this just by being gentle. So this one, you guys can't see it, that's okay. .295. So we're going to stamp this 1.2 OZT around the perimeter, which a lot of folks would be kind of scared to do because it might roll, but I think oftentimes they're just trying to hit it too hard. So I'm just going to steady it and just give it a light tap. And I get my 1. 1. A little bit harder than that. I really need to get a proper punctuation. See if it focuses. 1 point. And now we'll go for a 2. If I wanted to, I could hold the piece with a pair of pliers, but I really don't want to leave any marks on it that are not becoming. 1.2. The 2 could use a little more pressure, so I'll just feel the stamp back into the groove right there and give it another tap, and there's my 2. If it'll focus, there we go. 1.2. And then I would continue around with the O and the Z and the T, put the Tree of Life on top and the 999 on bottom. So, but the secret really is having the proper tools, having the solid but somewhat giving so you don't mar up the face. And even though I have so much raised portion on this dragon, that rubber will allow me to keep from messing up the dragon. So if I wanted to put the Tree of Life on this, I would just put this, I would let this level itself out. It's going to lean one way or the other. I'm going to take the Tree of Life, make sure I have the impress art, my thumb on the impress art, and just that tap, which you could tell I didn't draw back and really hammer it, gives me the Tree of Life. Right next to it, I'm going to put the 999. So I'm going to let it wobble itself over to the side it wants to wobble, give it a tap, clean, 999 FS. If I stamp too hard, I'm going to get a circular crescent shape around it, and what that is the head of the stamp around the edges here hitting the edge of the silver. And I try not to do that. It happens from time to time, but I try not to do that. Same thing with the Tree of Life. Some of you probably have Tree of Life pieces out there that has little crescent shape around the Tree of Life. And it's unfortunate when it happens, but you know, it's hand poured silver. Every piece is different. And so that big 10-ounce bar, nothing changes. I don't hit the 10-ounce bar any harder than I do a 1-ounce bar. I just center my stamp. Nice little tap. Tree of Life. Come down to the bottom with the 999. Center it. I just visually center it. Give it a tap. 999 fine silver. Clean, legible. And there you have it. So, I appreciate everybody watching. I know this video ran a little bit long, but I wanted to cover some of the finer details, you know, the stuff that most people don't get to see. And so, once again, there's the stamping block with the rubber on top. And if you're worried about the rubber leaving marks, you can always go to the craft store and get some, you know, saddle leather. And you can put your piece face down on the saddle leather, and I found that the leather does if you use the rawhide side, does a pretty good job of gripping the piece of silver so it doesn't slide. And as long as you don't get dirt and whatnot in here, it won't scratch up. It's just like holstering a gun in a leather holster. If you keep it clean, it won't scratch up the finish on your gun. So anyway, I'm challenging Salivate Metal for the most boring video, so I hope somebody found this useful and helpful and enjoyable. Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend. Have a great Labor Day. Bye.